Alright, what's up YouTube? Today, bringing you another review video, only this one's a little bit different. It's probably a little bit more up some of you guys' alleys. Today we are reviewing cheap bass jigs. Well, I should say cheap and available bass jig. By that I mean jigs you can go to your local Walmart or whatever, you know, store is local to you. I'm guessing it's Walmart because Walmarts are everywhere. It's like the plague. You can go to your local Walmart and you can pick them up. Say you're on a trip and you forgot some tackle, pulling into Walmart now. As you can see, we're at Walmart. Yay, Walmart. I'm gonna try and keep these jigs under probably $3.50, I think. I don't know. I haven't been in Walmart fishing section for a while. To be honest with you, our Walmarts up here, up north, are nothing like your Walmarts down south. I was stationed in Kentucky. The Walmarts down there pretty much kicked ass. The Walmarts up here pretty much suck when it comes to the outdoor stuff. So there is that. I'll probably only have a choice of a couple jigs. We're gonna go in there, grab a couple of the jigs. I'm hoping for 3 or 4, and then we'll get to the review. Alright. Ooh, those are cheap. And they look cheap too. So, what we have here, some Arkie brand, some Booyah brand, some Strike King brand, and that is about it. So we got 3 to choose from, 3 or 4, a couple different brands, and I think we'll get Arkie $1.56. Holy crap, can't beat that. What is this? This is a 1/4 ounce. I don't want that. This is a 3/8 ounce. Boy, those are some ugly colors though. And then we'll get 3/8 ounce of one of those. Booyah. Let's see. All I have is the baby boo. We'll go like this. One of these in 5/16. And one of these in 5/16. And then they have the Bitsy bug. You get one of these in 1/8. Pro model. What is this? That's a 1/2 ounce. I don't really want to have. There's a 3/8 ounce. And we got a Strike King 3/8 ounce. Okay, we got 4 different jigs. We got 2 Strike Kings, Booyah, and Arkie. They wanted me to donate it to them. I said, no, I'm giving it to the guy outside. There's some change in there too.
Oh yeah, I know now.
You guys have a good day. All right, I'm back from Walmart, my favorite place in the world. Got the bag of jigs, 8 jigs. We spent $16.63, about $2.08 per jig. We got jigs from Strike King, Booyah, and Arkie. And the nice thing about it is that there's a Walmart in almost every damn town, everywhere you go. So you will be able to pick up one of these jigs no matter where you're at. If you forget your tackle box, if you are just cheap and you don't like ordering off the internet, which is fine. There's lots of times that I won't order off the internet unless I can get free ship. You know, I know online retailers know that. That's why they all offer free shipping over $50. But you know, to be honest, a lot of times you don't want to spend $50. You just need a couple things. A local tackle shop that's real good left with the Walmart. So that's why I'm doing this video and reviewing Walmart jigs to break down which are the best for you and which ones are the most cost effective. So let's get to it. All right, so we have 4 different jigs. I'm going to give a quick review on the 4 jigs. Then we're going to do just like we did on the last jig review, or we're going to do a durability test, which includes the hook, the paint, the weed guard, the skirt. And then I'll give you my final opinion, I guess, on these 4 jigs. which ones are good to buy and which one are just duds. So we'll get started. Jig number one is the Strike King Pro Model jig. It includes 2 rattles. These were priced at $277, which for $277 you get 2 rattles with it. It's a pretty good price. It's got kind of a modified Arkie head, eagle claw hook. You can see the skirt is banded by a clear collar, which I don't really care for. I have a video on how to fix your skirt from falling down, and for sure if you're gonna plan on fishing these for a while, you're gonna want to do that. But for $277 you get 2 rattles and even a skirt on it. I think that's a pretty good deal, especially when you consider that you can buy these pretty much anywhere. So this is the Strike King Pro Model jig. Next up we have the Booyah Boo Jig. It's more of a finesse style jig. It has a nice trailer keeper on it. Doesn't include any rattles. Nice mustad hook. It's more of a finesse style hook though. It's not going to be real good flipping into heavy cover. If you're going to think you're going to pound the fish and get them out of there, this hook is more finesse style. It's got a nice skirt on it, and it holds up well on the jig. The paint is what it is. It's just flat black paint. But it looks, it doesn't have any burrs. Its fit and finish is pretty good. And, it's got a good trailer keeper. It's about a small 2-aught hook, but it is a finesse style jig. And these were priced at $2.49. And in my opinion, they're a pretty good buy. Looks like it'd be a really good jig for light weeds, light timber cover. Next up, we have the Arkie Bass Jig. These are $1.56. You can see they kind of need some rearranging on the skirt. This is exactly how it came out of the package. It's kind of a modified Arkie head. It's got good paint on it. For $1.56, I don't think you can really complain about the paint. All you got to do out of the package is adjust the skirt around, kind of take it and just adjust it until you get, a full skirt. You can twist it and make it easier, but it'd take you a couple minutes to get it fully adjusted to the way you want it. But like I said, for $1.56, I don't really think you can go wrong. It's the band on it is a rattle band, so it accepts rattles, which is nice in this price point. And also, one thing about those rattle bands is the fact that they don't wear out like the clear ones. They're a lot more durable and they'll last a lot longer. Jig it's kind of a modified Arkie head. It's got a nice stiff weed guard, kind of a smaller, I think it's about a 4-aught, 3-aught hook and a 3/8 ounce jig, but it'll definitely do the job. It's looks like it's an eagle claw hook. It says it has micro hone technology. I'm sure that's just Eagle Claw's way of saying they actually sharpened it. Nothing wrong with this jig, especially for the price point of $1.56. It's got a trailer keeper. You can also see one of the good things about this jig is that the collar on the jig itself is pretty deep. So what that means is this skirt is not going to pull off willingly. It's not just going to come off of there. You can put a lot of tension on the skirt and it's not going anywhere. One of the really good points about this jig. And, it's got decent fit and finish for $1.56. I'm definitely not going to complain about this jig. That is the Arkie Rattle Bass Jig. All right, next up, we have the Strike King Bitsy Bug Jig. And I have a love-hate relationship with this jig. I fished this jig in the past. I still fish it. It's one of the only bass jigs that's got a, it's a light fiber guard, but it's still got a guard, and it's a, smallish 1-aught hook. but it's a downsized bass jig that goes all the way down to 1/8 of an ounce and fishes really well shallow. They're not the the best jig in the world, but I have fished them before. It's typical Strike King quality. They have good paint jobs. The skirts are so-so on them. It's a nice thick skirt. You got to do some readjusting on it right out of the package to get it to look right. The jig does have a trailer keeper. I would like the trailer keeper to be up the shank of the hook a little bit. But between this and the Baby Boo Jig, they're pretty straight competitors. But this is the Strike King Bitsy Bug Jig. So next up, we're gonna do the durability test on these jigs. Just got done doing the durability test. Tested all 4 jigs, and I have to say the results were pretty good considering the prices. I was expecting some of the jigs to fall apart, and they all did pretty good. So I'll give you my review on what I think about the jigs and which ones you should buy. First jig up is the Bitsy Bug Jig. It held up pretty good. The paint held up pretty good. The one low point on this jig is the fact that you can just pull the skirt down with ease. Once again, it's the collar area was not molded in properly on the jig. And once that starts happening, it just happens more and more and more and more. So I will leave a link up in one of these corners to show you how to fix this. But the Bitsy Bug Jig is a finesse style jig, and while the hook held up pretty good on the hook deflection test, it is a pretty soft hook, softer than the Baby Boo Jig from Booyah. And if I had to take my pick between the two, even though these are probably a quarter more expensive than the Bitsy Bug, I would pick the Booyah. So the Booyah jig held up wonderful. You can pull the skirt down, but you really have to put pressure on it. The paint held up good, probably just as good as any other jig I've ever tested. The caveat to this is that this jig is light. It's 5/16 of an ounce, and so it doesn't have a lot of weight when it's contacting the ground. And when you're reeling it back up on the asphalt, it doesn't have a lot of drag on it. So, but with that said, it held up really good. The only thing that I notice about this jig is that the weed guard is off center, which is what it is. But to fix that, you can always take the weed guard and kind of pull it to the side that it's off center, and it'll center it up. And also with these little finesse jigs and their little weed guards, I always fan out the weed guard a bit anyways on them to get that fan look and give you more protection in weeds. So, but the Baby Boo Jig is a really good choice at your local Walmart or your local fishing store, and it held up great, which kind of surprised me because I didn't have a good opinion on Booyah tackle, but this particular one held up great. And for the finesse style jig, I would definitely go this route over the Bitsy Bug Jig. Next jig is the Strike King. I think it was the Pro Model flipping jig, and this one actually held up pretty good too. The one big thing is that the skirt pulls down readily. It does have that clear collar on it that already looks like it's rotten a little bit. The one thing though is when you pull the skirt down, it gets blocked by the rattles on it, so you can't actually pull it all the way off, which is good. The thing about this jig and why I wouldn't fish it is the hook. This hook dulled, and it actually the point deflected a little bit on my hook deflection test. And but other than that, which is a a major deal, I'd have to resharpen this just to fish it. But so it is what it is. The hook didn't pass the test, which is probably the biggest deal in the jig, is the hook. So that's the Strike King Premier Jig. The next jig up is the Arkie Rattle Collar Bass Jig. And this is, as far as the two flipping jigs that I had to choose from, this is the way I would go. It's the cheapest of the bunch. It's probably the ugliest of the bunch right out of the box, but it held up pretty well. The hook held up well. The skirt is, stays put. The paint is chipped a little bit, but it also carries a lot of weight on the corners and has pretty extreme angles in those corners, get chipped up pretty quick. But the weed guard held up really good, didn't deflect to one side or do anything crazy. This is the Arkie Rattle Collar flipping jig, and this is, out of all the jigs that are available at Walmart, this is the cheapest one of the group. And if I'm ever in a bind and I need jigs and there's a local Walmart, these are the jigs I'm going to buy. I think it held up the best. And anything that's wrong with the jig out of the box is completely fixable. But that's the jig review for Walmart jigs. So if you're ever in a bind and you need to go buy jigs from Walmart, or if Walmart is all you have available to you locally, then you know which jigs to look for. If you're going to do a finesse style jig, I would go with the Baby Boo jig from Booyah. I think they're $242 or $249. They held up actually excellent for a finesse style jig in this test. And if you're going to go with the flipping jig, the Arkie Rattle Collar Bass Jig, $1.56. I really don't think you can go wrong with this jig. I have no problems fishing this jig. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of some of the more expensive jigs, but you have to, if you're in a pinch and you need jigs to fish, they'll definitely do the job. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you liked it enough, you can go ahead and subscribe. We have more exciting content coming in the future, and I really appreciate you watching.